Hey guys, Trowbridge here at my home studio, and we're going to take a break from the Pixlr series and work on some old-fashioned drawing. So figured I'd pick a cartoon character that's relatively easy to draw, good old Mickey Mouse. So let's get started. Alright kids, today I'm going to be using a Wacom tablet. A lot of you guys don't have Wacom tablets, that's okay. You can use that app Pixlr that I showed you in my previous videos. Or if you want to, you can just do old school and get a pencil and paper and do it that way. Now because I'm using my Wacom tablet, I actually have to draw looking at my screen, but I'm moving my pencil down here. And so I'm a little bit more sketchier than I would be if I was using paper. So I'll show you what I mean. So when I'm drawing Mickey Mouse with my pencil and paper, I'm looking directly at where my hand is moving. And so I'm way more confident and I know exactly where I want to put the lines. But with the Wacom tablet, it's a little bit more challenging. So before I start drawing Mickey Mouse, I kind of want to study what I'm going to draw. I want to look at the shapes that I see that make up Mickey's face. And I see right away that his face is just a giant circle, and then his ears are two more circles. Like, that is the most iconic image of Mickey Mouse and super recognizable. And so his nose, that's probably the most weirdest shape, but if you can get that nose right in relationship to those circles, you're going to draw a Mickey Mouse that looks just like Mickey Mouse. Now it takes a little bit of practice to get to that point where you can draw things like confidently. And when I see kids usually drawing, like when they're young, they try to draw, they start off at like one point, like let's say the eye, and then they just start going from there, like, oh, I'll draw another eye, and then I'll draw the nose, and then I draw, and that's really the wrong approach. You don't want to just start at one point and then go out from there. What you want to do is you want to draw that giant shape that you first saw, which is that big circle. That's the most important and biggest shape that I see. And so the first shape that I want to draw is that giant circle that is his face. It's the most important one. Then after that, I might do the next biggest shape, which are probably going to be his ears. Now, a lot of artists will draw this little bitty, this cross, this plus, and that just shows you like that line going straight down where the middle of your face would be. Like if you were drawing somebody, like let's say you drew yourself, there would be a line going straight down your forehead, to your nose, to your lips, down to your chin. And so that's what those lines are for, and usually you erase those lines when you're done. Now, we are drawing Mickey Mouse at a 3/4 view. That means we see 3/4 of his face, but then there's like a fourth that we don't. Like we're not looking straight on. So when you draw somebody kind of like tilted to the side, it's called 3/4. And so that's why that little cross, that plus, is kind of so far over. Now from that little cross, I'm going to draw his nose. And his nose is kind of like a bowl shape on the bottom, and then it kind of curls up and comes back around right there. And then sticking out from the top of that, of his muzzle, his schnoz, is his nose, and it's right there, and you can kind of see how close that nose is to his face. Like there's like a small little gap. Those little shapes are what you want to look for to make sure that you're drawing it correctly. So that distance between his nose and his face, that little shape, you want to look at that shape and try to copy it when you draw. Now, as I move on to his eyes, I notice that his eye on the right is a little bit smaller and a little bit more skinnier. That's because of the angle that we're looking at it. So, and it's also touching his muzzle coming off. And so I draw the right eye, and then I go on to his left eye, and they're pretty close, and it's a little bit bigger than the left eye. His left eye. It's to the right of me, but it's his personal left eye. Drawing his pupils now, which are just all black. Some pupils have glares, but Mickey's does not. Now, at the end of his muzzle right here, we have one of those little like smile wrinkles, like a little when you smile, you get those little like I don't know, you call them rainbow wrinkles. And then from there, his mouth, it's kind of like a really skinny bowl shape with his tongue. So there's a lot of like arches, a lot of rainbow shapes in Mickey Mouse's face. So I draw one little bitty arch. So I draw one little arch for part of his tongue, and then I draw the other arch, and then I have his tongue. And then underneath that, he's got his chin. And it just kind of follows the same contour, the same line of his mouth. It goes like the same. It's just a little bit bigger, and it goes right underneath. So with Mickey's eyes, his nose, and his mouth done, now I'm going to do this shape, this black shape that kind of goes around Mickey's face. And the shape is an arch, or a rainbow, you could say. And so it starts right there in between his eyes. Like there's like this widow peak. Sometimes when I'm drawing, I usually will save like the shading or coloring in the black parts till the end. But sometimes I just can't wait because I know I'm gonna do it. So then I'll you know, like I'll color in his pupils, and I'll also go over lines that are light and I know that the lines are correct. Once I know a line is correct, I'll go over it and darken it to know that I'm going to keep it. And then I'm going to go on and draw this little arch that goes around his eyeball. And so it goes kind of straight down and it gets really close to his eye. Alright, and then right when I get to that point by his eye, there's another arch that goes around that smile wrinkle from his mouth. Alright, now this is starting to really look like Mickey Mouse. I'll go around, darken some lines up, all the lines that are correct. There we go, his head, his ears. It's starting to really look like Mickey Mouse. Alright, now I'm going to kind of speed this up, my refinement. I'm going to kind of go over lines, darken them, erase things that I don't want. I'm going to speed this up just so it goes by a little bit faster. Also, I'll keep looking back at the original Mickey Mouse, and if I notice that there's some shapes that I didn't get right exactly, I can kind of erase those and kind of redraw them until I think it looks correct. Now let's say you get to the end and you go, Mr. Trowbridge, I don't want to draw Mickey Mouse. I want to draw Minnie Mouse. Well, the good thing is there's only like two big differences between Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, at least in their face. And those are Minnie Mouse has eyelashes and she has a bow in between her ears. Now, if you were to go to the pet store and see a mouse, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was a boy or a girl. So these are just a couple things that the artist did to make sure that you knew that, you know, Minnie was a girl and Mickey was a boy. And so I added the eyelashes to Mickey Mouse, so now it's Minnie Mouse, and now I'm drawing the bow. And the bow is kind of like a little hot dog shape right there between the ears, and then the bow is also just these really round shapes. One's kind of like a triangle, and the other one is kind of like a bow tie maybe. And then after that, I'll add the little fold lines of the fabric of the bow, and I'll add the polka dots, and then I will erase the ears from behind so that you don't see them and you only see the bow, and then I'll have my Minnie Mouse. Now, if you are in Pixlr, I did different layers. I'm in Photoshop, but Pixlr has layers too, and so now I have Mickey on one layer and Minnie on another layer. You can see I have all these different layers over here, and now I can put both of them up here so you can see both of them. Now, let's say you're drawing this and you're getting frustrated, because I make it look easy. That's because I've been drawing for, 35 years or so. Now, I'm going to draw Mickey Mouse, but I'm going to get all the shapes wrong. And you're going to see that even if I draw the shapes wrong, it will still look like Mickey Mouse kind of. Or maybe it'll look like Mickey's distant cousin, Mackie Mouse. Now the big difference between Mackie Mouse and Mickey Mouse is really just practice. Just drawing it over and over again. And sometimes that seems tedious, and a lot of people don't want to put in the artwork or put in the time. And that's okay. Not everybody is cracked up to be an artist. But the artists that are really good are the ones that keep practicing. They don't give up and they go, I'm going to draw this. And they just keep drawing and keep drawing. So even though I got all the shapes wrong of this Mickey Mouse drawing, this still looks like a good mouse. At least in my opinion. It's a good drawing. This is a good drawing. Even though it's wrong, it's still good. Alright guys, I hope you had fun drawing this. If you found it to be a little bit challenging, just make sure you keep practicing. If you draw the same thing 100 times, I promise by the 100th time, it'll be super easy. So just keep practicing and stay tuned to the next video where I show you how to draw Mickey and Minnie's body.